get him starting. So you're going to need, and you'll see this on the recipe, but in addition, for his recipe, he's got 2 to 3 medium large eggplants, 2 to 3 eggs, plain or Italian style breadcrumbs, dried basil and oregano, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 bay leaf, and then 2 cans of the whole peeled plum or crushed tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, olive oil, and salt and pepper. So that's your ingredients list. So most everyone would, I think, have a lot of that in their pantry. You just get the eggplants and the
King Kong
mozzarella.
Sale on most of that. You buy 1 mozzarella, you get the second one free. So there's a lot of good things on there that's on sale starting tomorrow.
All right, well, good timing then.
Yep.
And as you know, October is National Vegetarian Month, so we hit 2 birds with 1 stone here with the Italian recipe as well as the vegetarian recipe here. So I guess without further ado, I will introduce Chef Robert Dell'amore and his mama's recipe for, I guess, home-baked eggplant parmesan. Thanks for joining us today, Robert. Are you ready to go?
Okay. Welcome.
Okay, I'm going to mute everyone while he's doing his program so that we don't get any feedback, okay? And then we will do questions at the end, as well as you can put something in the chat if you want, all right? And I'll mute myself.
Okay. Welcome. Welcome to my home. My name is Chef Dr. Robert Dell'amore. I'm president and founder of the Power of Food Productions. I'm thrilled to be able to bring my eggplant parmesan, homemade eggplant parmesan that I have been cooking, having learned from my mother over 20 years ago, this preparation. And I'm thrilled to be able to bring it now to the public. Again, over 20 years I'm making it, just started teaching it. So we did one last week, so went really well. I think you're gonna love this. I did come up with a way of cutting the prep time in half, and I think you're gonna absolutely love it. First thing we're gonna do is take our eggplant. You wanna pick up eggplants that are male, not female. Male is gonna have a little circle versus a dash. And I have these here for you. I saved the tops. This is a circle, this is a dash. It's hard for you to see. But when you look at the bottom, you want to look for a circle, not a dash, not an indentation. That's female, that has more seeds, okay? As far as the eggplant being bitter, when you roast it in the oven, it never, ever, 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 ever comes out bitter, okay? As opposed to frying it in the pan on the stove in oil, okay? Frying the eggplant in oil is just ridiculous because of the amount of oil that the eggplant soaks up and absorbs, okay? So, hey, listen, we're not doing that. We're gonna cook with minimal oil. We're gonna use a nice pure olive oil instead of our extra virgin oil in our pan. Watch what we do. Okay, so one of my favorite utensils after my chef's knife is my sharp peeler, okay? Oxo-Good Grips, best one. Trust me, go out and buy a great peeler. You're gonna use it every day, as I do. Another little trick is to take some Tupperware and just have it here so that the garbage goes in there, everything stays nice and clean. I like to have it even underneath, and as I peel, it plops right in, okay? So a little container for your refuse, so you're not going back and forth to the garbage. Okay, I'm gonna take my chef's knife, I'm gonna take this eggplant. Everybody notice I peeled it. I never, ever, ever, ever cook eggplant with the peel on. I just don't like it. Some people like it or can tolerate it. I'm taking the time, a few minutes to peel it. Okay, now I'm gonna slice this lengthwise, okay? I don't like to slice it in the round. You can, I prefer this way. You're gonna see why when I prepare it and serve it. But I'm gonna take my knife and I can place my finger on top of the knife, on top of the blade. Now Now the blade is an extension of my finger. You see, and I can slice very thinly like this. Okay, you can also take the eggplant and slice it like so. Okay, nice and thin. Okay, using the tip of the knife to finish, and I'm done. Now, what I want you to also notice is that I have prepared my egg wash and my breadcrumbs ahead of time. Two things. The largest bowl you have to accommodate the egg. Okay, this is a nice size eggplant. So I'm going to introduce all of the eggplant at once into my egg wash. You see, what I do is I alternate so they don't stick together. Okay, so all of the egg. Now, for one eggplant, one egg. If you want to use 2 eggs, there'll be an issue with the egg dripping off, and it takes time to do that. I don't like to do that. 1 egg per eggplant. If it's a big eggplant, you use 2 eggs, okay? Now, watch what we're going to do here. Instead of doing 1 at a time, traditional way of doing the egging and breading, and you notice no flour. Okay, the eggplant, I'm taking it from the bottom. This is one of my favorite forks. It was my mother's, and it's large. You see what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it from the bottom. I'm going to let it drip. And as it's dripping, I take my high wall plastic container with breadcrumbs just covering the bottom of the container. No more than covering the bottom. Maybe a little bit more, but not halfway, not a third of the way. Okay, it goes plop right in. Now, what I'm going to do is make sure my eggplant slices are covered with egg. You see this one from the bottom? And what I do is I allow it to drip onto the other eggplants. And as I do that, with my left hand, I'm shaking the breadcrumbs to cover the eggplant. And I want to show you in literally 2 seconds, this is done. Okay, 2 seconds. I didn't even flip it. So watch what I do again. High wall plastic, because it's light. If you use ceramic, it's very heavy, it's going to be problematic. This guy is dripping. I get all the egg off so I don't clump up my breadcrumbs. It's done, stop dripping. So I take my next eggplant, make sure it's in the wash. And as it's dripping, I'm shaking, because I don't think there's anything worse than watching egg drip off the eggplant. So I'm going to shake as this is dripping, finished dripping, it goes right in. This guy comes right here. Look how fast I can do this whole eggplant. Again, I make sure the egg is covering the eggplant, and then as it's dripping, I'm shaking and literally cutting the time in less than half to do this. You'll notice my hands are clean. I'm not getting them with dirty with egg or breadcrumbs or a combination of both, right? Okay, my fingers never touch the eggplant here. It's always with the fork, okay? And I'm able to do the whole eggplant in about 5 minutes, okay? As it's dripping, I'm shaking. The breadcrumbs are banging off the sides of the Tupperware, and without even turning it, it's done. Okay, this is going like this. Now, I need a little bit more breadcrumbs. I like these Junta Meat Farms Italian breadcrumbs. They're delicious. If you want to use plain, fine, or mix the two, that's fun too, okay? If you, better yet, make your own breadcrumbs. A little tip, day-old bagels make the best breadcrumbs. If you have anyone that you know that owns a bagelery, see if you can get a bag of bagels, day old, and make your own breadcrumbs. They come out light and fluffy and amazing. Much better than the store-bought. Okay, this is finished dripping. It goes right in. And then in 2 seconds, this huge piece is done. Okay, let's see. Okay, how about using this technique for chicken cutlets? Can we do that? Oh, yeah. You notice, of course, I'm dripping over the pan. As it's dripping, I'm covering just in 2 seconds, it's done. Okay, I place this to the side, pick this one up. Okay. And I know that all of you tuning into this class, you love eggplant. So, but the problem is it's a labor of love, right? And I'm showing you how to do it in 45 minutes because that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so this is dripping. While it's dripping, I'm shaking. Okay, I've got another one here. I'm going to let this drip. Again, always moving through. And that's going to go there. This is going to go here. This is going to go here. Okay, now this, again, I didn't have to flip one of these. Okay, you just shake it around. You'll see how beautifully this works. Make sure it's a high wall container. This is done. Okay. Now, let's do this. Okay, so here's my baking sheet that I've pre-oiled. Okay, I like to use a dispenser with a nozzle, a very thin nozzle, so you can control the amount of oil. I never use a brush to oil the tray. It's just another thing to wash. Instead, just bring it around like this and it's beautifully coated, okay? Just enough oil to cover the bottom. You can use canola oil, pure olive oil. You can use extra virgin if you want. Whatever you have, vegetable oil. We're cooking at 400 degrees, okay? So we're not using extra virgin. Now, which portion of the pan is hottest? You know, when we cook on the stove in a pan, it's always the center is hottest and the perimeter is cooler. What about in the oven on the tray? Well, it turns out it's the opposite. The heat is coming from below, coming around the edges, so the edges are hottest and the center is coolest. So I like to put the thickest pieces around the edges, okay? It's a great little tip, okay? Your thicker pieces go in the corners always, okay? Because those are going to be warm, hottest. Okay, this pan is done. I have my oven on 300. I need to turn it up to 400. Give me 1 second. Okay, I had it preheated up to 300, so it'll come up to 400 quickly. Okay, now once you start doing this, you can put your oven on and then just do your prep, and you'll be putting trays in, you know, just moving through. I always do 2 trays at once. Watch what I do again. I'm going to take this like this, back and forth. Okay, no brushes, no paper towels, nothing. My hands are not touching anything. Do you see? I'm just letting it drip into the corners. It's done. Okay. I'm going to place our eggplant on this here. So I'm just going to go ahead and place these on my tray. I showed you how to prepare this with the peel. You see this slice is a little thicker. That's going to go on the side in the corner. Okay, this is a nice big piece that's going in the corner too. Okay, and you want to make sure that they're not touching. Okay, it's very important because when we go to flip them, we don't want them to, we want to flip them one at a time. Okay, so nice and separate. Look, there's always one extra, right? Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to squeeze this guy in here. Look at this. You see? Going to get him in there. All right, he's in. Okay, this guy is going in the oven. Your oven does not have to be up at 400 to start. Okay, you can put the eggplant in and turn it on. Doesn't matter. Okay, or you could have it preheated. I simply preheated the oven because I wanted to have it ready to roll. And these slices are a little bigger than I'd like, so I'm going to take my knife here and I'm just going to slice these in half. Okay, and this one, put my knife here, because I like to slice them thinly. They cook nicer, and I've actually come up with a cool technique. If you don't have the capacity to slice them very thinly, slice them a little thicker, do the same egging and breading with the shaking, and then just turn your oven up to 450, even 500. And when they're sliced thick like that, they come out puffy, believe it or not, soft and puffy. They're incredible. Try it. I've done it to try to save time. Okay. Okay. So the trick is turning the oven up to 450 or 500 when you slice it thick. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to. I have some others that I prepared here that need to be trayed. So let's do this really fast.
Hey, Chef, can I ask you one question?
Of course.
So you're not sweating the eggplant or with salt or anything?
Nothing, love. Nothing.
Okay.
Okay. The method of roasting the eggplant prevents any bitterness. It completely eliminates it. Okay, I've been doing this for 20 years. Now, making this dish over 20 years. Now, you know when you're invited to someone's house for a party and you ask them what you can bring, everyone always requests my eggplant parmesan. Okay, and it's baked and they know it's super healthy and there's not a ton of oil, but it comes out perfect every time, never ever bitter. In fact, I have transformed so many people's perceptions about eggplant, it's not even funny. Just this past weekend, someone who would never try eggplant and yet they not only tried it, they love it. This is going in now on the top tray. Okay. So my lower tray is the one I'm going to watch because that's the hotter of the two. And again, when you're using both trays in the oven, now you're really maximizing your time, managing your time better. I usually slice one eggplant and put it in, and then I'll go ahead and slice another one so it's not sitting out because the flesh will brown and oxidize very quickly when you peel it. So you could either prep them ahead of time or do as I do, one at a time. Okay, and the tray is going. And when we go to check on these in a minute or so, a few minutes, I'm going to check the lower tray first, of course. Okay, even if I put them in at the same time, the lower tray is going to cook faster and it's going to be hotter, right? We're going to do that in just a minute. But I've already prepared these for us. Beautiful slices, and I'm going to blow your mind now with the coolest way to, you know what, I'm going to wait and do it afterwards, okay, towards the end. Traditionally, this is going to go in a deep dish pan. You see, this is much higher wall than those other trays, okay, so you need your favorite deep dish pan. We're not using any oil, instead our homemade or store-bought marinara sauce, okay? And this recipe is included with this program. Okay, I'm going to take my nice large spoon and I'm going to cover the bottom of the pan with enough sauce, not too much, you don't need a lot, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Okay, and I use the back of the spoon to paint the sauce onto the tray. Okay, you don't want to waste a lot of sauce here on the bottom. This is just so the eggplant doesn't stick. And again, it's just giving a beautiful base to our eggplant. Okay, watch how we use it. Now, I like to put the flat side against the flat side of the tray. Okay, and I'm going to place them like so. Okay, end to end. Okay, you see this one, I'm going to turn it around because it's thicker on that end. Okay, that's going to go like that. This one is going to go like this. And you know, is there a rule to this? No, just put your just cover the bottom of the pan. Okay, now I have 4 slices. I'm not going to deviate from that pattern now. I'll be placing slices directly on top of those. So when I go to serve it, I cut and it's perfect. Trust me, it works great. Okay, now I've got my 8 slices down. With the spoon, I'm going to drag it with just enough sauce to cover each one. You know what? Not a lot of sauce, guys, because we're going to layer this. Okay, and then with the back of the spoon, I'm going to paint the sauce onto the slices. Okay, done. I'm going to take my cheese, which I have diced. You notice this? It's not shredded in a hand shredder where you lose a lot of the cheese, and it's just another thing to clean up. I really don't like using the box grater to shred the mozzarella. You can, of course, buy it already shredded. That's fine.
Any difference between fresh or the regular mozzarella?
Well,
Recommendation?
I have found that pre-shredded pre-shredded cheese does not melt the same way as this cheese. So it's a different animal. I don't know what they do to it to pre-shred it and have it stay. So I prefer to go with the mozzarella like this. And what I do is I freeze it. I'll buy them on sale. One of your, someone mentioned about buy one, get one free. Hey, that's a great deal. You have to go and get that and put at least 2 in the freezer. Keep 1 in the refrigerator. When it's frozen, it's going to cut much better. Watch this. Okay, so this is this is perfect. Okay, this is perfect. What you want to do is freeze the cheese. When you're ready to make the eggplant, you take it out and you let it defrost. As it defrosts, you can cut through it. It's easiest to cut all around the sides, which is what I did with this cheese. You understand? It's gonna defrost on the sides and the top and bottom faster. So I slice it along those. Now it's really starting to defrost, so I can cut through it. But watch how easily and small I can make this dice. This is crazy. This is perfect. You never get it to defrost like this perfectly. I can get the knife through it easily, but you see, if this was room temperature or even refrigerated cheese, this would be, there's no way I would be able to cut it this small. And trust me, it's not because I'm using this big knife. Look at this dice, it's beautiful. Hey, I've got to check my oven because I see some smoke coming up. And guess what? That's what I use as a visual cue to check on my eggplant. And I'm not going to take it out, I'm just going to shake it, watch. Okay. Let's do this like this. Okay, just by shaking the tray, you make sure it's not sticking, and the smoke that starts to form, again, it's not forming because I put too much oil. Yes, if you do add too much oil to the tray, you will get a smoke fire. You'll know about that when you open up the tray or you get a smoke. You notice there was no smoke. But I did see a little bit of smoke coming up, and I used that as a visual cue to say, I got to check on that bottom tray. Okay, so I'm going to let that, I did not flip them, and it's been about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to go full 10 minutes, 12 minutes at 400. You really want to cook this eggplant so it comes through, cooked through perfectly. Okay, again, back to this setup. Eggplant, sauce, cheese. I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to approximate the size of the ones on the first one with this one. Okay, which one does this look like? You know what, I'm going to put that right there. Perfect. Okay, oh, this is a nice big one. Where's my biggest one? Okay, it's going right there. Okay, this one, beautiful, right on. Okay, I like to save the smaller ones towards the end. You just put them on top, okay? Just going to go here. Too big. Go like that. And what you'll see is that when you cook this like this and you go to serve them, you're going to have 8 perfect portions. You're going to be like, why didn't I ever think of this? Because you're not cutting through any eggplant that may pull out. Trust me, it works great. Okay, I'm done. I'm checking my eggplant over there. Again, with the spoon, the ladle, whatever you'd like to use, enough sauce to cover. You're not bathing this in sauce. You're just building some incredible flavors and layers of flavor. Now, I cooked 3 eggplants, so I have enough to make this super high, and it's going to be amazing. But you could just go with 2 layers or 3, whatever you'd like, okay? As much eggplant as you have to go a minimum of 2. Okay, I've got to flip these eggplants now. Give me a second. So this is what they look like here. The breadcrumbs are browning a little bit here. And these are perfect, okay? I'm gonna take my fork and I'm just gonna take one at a time. Look at this. Now, you don't pick them up in the middle, you put them up towards the end, okay? And you see this is thicker on this side, so I wanna put this towards here, you know? I could even turn this one over like this. Okay, put the thicker end towards the edge, right? What about this color here? Is this burnt? No, it's perfectly browned. And because we let it sit for a while, good 10 minutes at 400, this eggplant is cooked beautifully. By the time we cook the other side, it's gonna be delectable. Okay, when you start to make this, do this recipe, you're gonna be able to feel when it's ready, when it's through, when it's nice and soft. Now the top tray looks like it's doing nothing. Guess what? It's cooking beautifully. It's not browning because it's not on the bottom. You see? It's still oil, but it's cooking and the tray is hot. When I'm done with this, where's this going? On the bottom tray, okay? So this goes back on top. Just shake them and make sure they're not sticking. And that's that. Okay. Okay. I've got my sauce. Just make sure there's sauce with every bite. That's the way I like it. Right? Okay. Delicious homemade sauce. Now my fine, you know, I'm going to save this fine mozzarella for the top. Okay. We're going to take this mozz and I just go fast. Okay. And not too much. Just enough to cover, and again, you're building layers of the eggplant. It's delectable, okay? This is done. I'm gonna take another one. And don't forget, this takes time, but how many meals do I have out of this dish? Who's gonna tell me how many meals? You're gonna have at least 3 meals. Or if you're having company, this will satisfy them. You won't have any leftovers if you have company. Okay, do you see the way I'm just mimicking the template we had on the bottom? Look how beautiful this is, okay? I have some more here. Put this one here. I need a thin one for this. Yes, look at this. Perfect, okay? Yeah, a little sauce. What about cooking it this much and you're one person? Does that make any sense? Guess what? How about you cook it like this and then you freeze it? And it is absolutely the best leftover, frozen leftover you've ever had. You freeze it. I like to double bag it. I do it all the time. If I have leftover, this is going in the freezer. There's nothing like taking this out and knowing you have this already made, homemade. Freezes amazingly, okay? Try it. So I'm gonna use, this is about as thick as I'm gonna go here. Actually, I have more here. Okay, let's do this. A little more cheese. And again, the thickness is really up to you. It's personal. I like to make this during the week. I'm gonna show you a very cool way to prepare this. I promised you I would. Okay. So you've got your eggplant, they came out of the oven, they're beautifully cooked. If you have extra, it goes in the refrigerator, okay? I've got to check on these eggplant one more time. I'm gonna come back to this trick. Actually, let me just finish telling you what to do here. What we're gonna do is, midweek, we don't have this prepared, this part of the recipe, but we do have the eggplant that's been baked on the trays individually, and we have them extra here. Guess what? You're going to take 1. You're going to take 2, maybe 3. And you're going to put some sauce on it. A little cheese. And this is going in the microwave, and this is absolutely delicious. Same thing as this, except it's not roasted. It's not baked in the oven. The eggplant is already baked, of course, the individual layers, but this is going to go in the microwave and you'll have it done in 2 seconds. You can put it in my toaster oven as well on a tray. a little weeknight trick. 2 layers of eggplant. Literally, you'll have the eggplant in 5 minutes.
Robert,
Try
could
it.
you hold up your cooked eggplant tray to a little closer to the camera so we could
Yeah.
see?
Okay, I will. Look at this. This is my cooked eggplant right here. Do you see the color? And when you press and you go to lift, it rips off the fork. It's so tender. You see? This is done. This is coming from the bottom, the lowest rung of the oven, okay? This is done, okay? Now, the upper one is gonna go, again, it's cooking, it's getting nice and soft, but we want color. We want some browning of the breadcrumbs. Now, everyone, I don't know if you could see, but the breadcrumbs here on the tray are brown. See, if I lift this up, it's gonna break through. Okay. These breadcrumbs are reserved, guys. I reserve these with a paper towel. That means I just push them off to the side in the corner and scoop them out, and that goes on a salad. It's delicious. They're roasted breadcrumbs. Really good. Don't throw them out. Italians, we don't throw anything out. You know what? I want to cook this just a little bit more. Who cares? I've got the tray available. It's going back in. Okay? Now, the top one went down to the bottom. You've got to try this trick. If you want to do this in 2 steps, you can do this as well. Roast the eggplant the way I'm doing it. When it's done, you put it in a glass Pyrex container, and it goes in the refrigerator. The next day, you assemble it like this. Or the next day, you make it like this and just have it for yourself. And then the following day, you make it like this. Because this will stay in the refrigerator for a couple of days. Okay? Okay, this is ready to roll. I'm going to put this in the oven. Okay? No, I got to finish these tops. A little sauce. Use the back of the spoon to paint the sauce. Now, seriously, when it's this high, 4 layers high, you serve one of these to each of your guests. They'll be so happy and so contented, so filling. And it's vegetarian. Hello. Okay. You know, there is a problem with making this at home. When you go out to eat it, you're going to be disappointed anyway you go to eat out. It will never be like your baked eggplant. Promise. Okay. Okay, this is ready to rock and roll. You know what? I need a little bit more cheese here, so I'm going to take my cheese. Still a little frozen in the middle. Look how thin I can slice it. Okay, then I slice it into julienne strips. Okay, this again is perfect. So I can cut it really small. And again, there's no waste of cheese. When you use a box grater, there's a lot of cheese that gets wasted in that grater, in the holes. And it's, again, another thing you need to clean. Here, the only thing I'm cleaning is my knife. And there's no waste, right? Yeah. Is it possible to put too much cheese on top? No, there isn't. Okay? So I'm going to just slice a little bit more. And I want to fill those big ones up. I mean, there's no way we're going to eat this all this week. So I'm going to freeze half of this. And I know that I have that ready to roll. I can serve it on any Sunday I want.
Chef, we had a question that come in. Do you have a recommendation for a brand of mozzarella that you prefer over another?
No. I buy what's on sale. And again, I buy 2 or 3 at a time. And I do recommend the part skim mozzarella. It's got a markedly less saturated fat than the whole milk. Buy the part skim. Okay, it tastes the same and much less saturated fat. That's what this is, okay? This is ready to roll. This is going in my oven on the bottom level. Let's check our oven now. Okay, so literally less than 45 minutes. We're done here. Okay. So this is, look at what happened here. Look at this. So this is cooking perfectly. Okay. The small ones always get eaten by the chef as he's cooking. This is going to go in here, finish cooking. This is absolutely done. You see? Look how thin and beautiful there. And again, look, you see they just rip apart. That's what you want. You want to cook through nicely. Okay, this can be transported here. And again, with a little paper towel, I like to reserve this, spoon it out, and I put it in a little souffle cup, and I sprinkle it on salads. It's delicious. Don't throw that away. Okay, this is ready to roll. So I'm gonna put this on in my oven, and that's gonna bake. Now, we don't have time to wait for that to finish baking. It's simply, we're basically done here, but what's going to happen is in about 15, 20 minutes, the house is just going to smell amazing. It's a different, what's happening now is you're getting the melding and the melting of the cheese and the sauce and the eggplant. It's something divine. Okay, nice deep dish pan. You don't have to use 400 degrees to cook this now. This can be cooked at 250. And all you're really doing is cooking it through and melting the cheese because the eggplant's already cooked. Okay, there's a slight possibility of overcooking it and drying it out, but you really got to just be, it's pretty hard to do that. Okay, so between 250 and 400, it goes back in the oven in a deep dish pan. And when that comes out, we're going to cut around so each layer, okay? They're not overlapping like this. They're all evenly, perfectly spaced. So when I go in with a butter knife, I've never in 20 years used anything but a butter knife to cut around this. And then it's so perfectly stacked, you can use a fork. You don't even need a spatula, believe it or not. Okay, you know what? We're going to let that finish cooking. I'm going to take some questions, and it's 4:40. We were able to do, I had already cooked those other eggplants, and that took me about an hour. So we're done here. Look, don't forget, this is going to be our weeknight eggplant stacked one on top of the other. You don't even have to put the sauce and the cheese in between. Just put two on a plate like I did here. A little sauce, you put it in the microwave or toaster oven for a minute or two until the cheese melts. Okay, give me 1 second, then we're going to answer some questions. Actually, I can answer some questions as I do this.
Well, one question that came in is, do we add any other kind of cheeses? Are we not adding any Parmesan cheese?
No, I never add Parmesan, actually. The term eggplant Parmesan really means eggplant with cheese. I don't use any Parmesan, not even on the top. It doesn't need it. It really doesn't need it. Okay, this eggplant is done. These are my slices that were on top. And you can see at 400, it didn't burn. There's no smoke. There's no oil on the bottom. I just used enough to coat the bottom. If I put a fork through these, where's my fork? Okay. You see, they start to break apart. Look, they're so soft that the fork goes through them, you see? So this is perfect, okay? And this is gonna go right in. Look at this. This is exactly what we want, nice soft eggplant. Because we roasted it, it never comes out bitter. And I'm going to move my eggplant to the bottom so it cooks faster and the cheese melts, and then you'll be able to see me cut it. Okay, let's answer some questions.
The eggplant, male and the female, could you hold up the bottom of that on that yellow green mat? Because it was
I
held.
want you to write this down. A dash is a female. A dash. A circle is a male. You want to look for the circles. Okay, this is too far away. You know what? This is a better example, but unfortunately this eggplant has these, but this is a dash. You see it's a dash,
Yeah.
and this is a circle. Okay,
Oh.
and you'll find that.
If you hold it up on that
circle-
yellow mat, hold it up against that greenish mat, it'll show up a lot more vividly.
Okay, you look for the ones with the circle, not the dash. The dash means it's female, more seeds. Okay, forget about using any salt to get the water, bitter water out of the eggplant. Never done it. My mother never did it. My grandmother never did it. When you bake it, it comes out perfect every time. Okay, so look for these and the circle rather than the dash.
Get back to you.
Yes, it's all done. I ordered everything. We're good. 4:30
Okay, who's got
tomorrow.
another question?
Could you go over the times of the baking and the temperature again?
Sure, the baking is at 400. Each side of the eggplant is cooked for 10, 15 minutes. You're checking the lower tray first. Again, when you're using 2 trays, you're maximizing time. If you just have 1 tray, it goes on the bottom. You cook it 15 minutes, easy peasy, 15 minutes, high, 400. If the smoke starts to come out, I don't know about your oven, but if you start to see smoke exit the oven, it has to escape somewhere. That means it's starting to get hot. I open it up, I just shake it. Smoke goes away, okay? If you put too much oil, you'll get full face of smoke, and you really want to move that up to the top level in the oven, okay? 15 minutes each side. Taking it out from the bottom, flipping it, putting it back on the bottom. After 15 minutes, you're taking it out from the bottom, and you're removing that tray. You move the top tray to the bottom, and then you put another tray on the top if you have a third tray. Okay. Now we're going to cook this now at either 250 for a little bit longer, or I have the oven on 400. No problem. It's really thick, right? And that's going to take about 10, 15 minutes, and just enough time for the cheese to melt and just let it come together. I don't smell it yet. I'll let you know when I do. Go ahead. Any other questions?
Can you explain a little bit more, like how to freeze them, like either in individual?
Yeah, great question. Great question. Okay. So get this. This is amazing. Okay. You can egg and bread the slices and put it in the refrigerator. Come back and cook them in the oven. What happens when you put them in the refrigerator, I know you said freeze it, but what happens is if you egg and bread the sliced eggplant and put it in the refrigerator, the breadcrumbs pick up the moisture in the refrigerator and they become soggy. And I'm sharing this with you because I've done it, okay? And I said, oh my God, look at these breadcrumbs, they're mushy. This is gonna be terrible. Oh, I gotta cook them anyway, right? I'm not gonna throw them away. Guess what happens? When you do this step, it's actually incredible. When you egg and bread the slices and put them in the refrigerator, they come out moist and soggy. When you bake them, that moisture actually crisps up. It's insane. It's insane. You have to try it. So that's one way to break out the preparation time. Slicing it, egging and breading, and it goes in the refrigerator. Take them out the next day. You're ready to cook them. You cook them. It takes 30 minutes. You're done. Or you can cook them through and then refrigerate them like this. Or you can freeze them like this. Or you can cook it through all the way with the sauce and the cheese and slice them. I like to slice them in, and then that goes in a bag, a double baggie, and that's frozen like that. With it like that, you can defrost it, put it in the oven, and you're ready in 10 minutes. Or you can put it in the microwave. Or you can, again, freeze them like this, take them out, let them defrost, and then assemble the casserole.
What about
Does that
the
answer your
freezing of
question?
the
What's that?
cheese, freezing the
Wait, hold on. For the freezing part, right? So what's the difference? What happens when you freeze the breaded one, and then you take
Nothing
what
happens.
to the cooking? Like what's the difference?
It doesn't have the same effect as refrigerating it.
Okay, so it's best refrigerating or freeze them.
Refrigerating it, it's going to become soggy. Believe it or not, you put them on the tray. Say, oh my God, they come out crispy. I prefer to egg them and bread them and put them right in. I mean, this is the best. Okay, I don't want you to do it like that and then find that it doesn't work. It's just something that I happened to do once because I didn't have time to bake them. I egged and breaded them and put them away, and that's what happened. Okay, next question. The cheese. I'm freezing the cheese, extra cheese. The morning I'm gonna make this, that comes out on a plate, it defrosts. As soon as the sides get soft, I can slice, get a knife through it. I slice all 4 edges and the top and bottom. When you freeze and then defrost the cheese, you can cut it much thinner. It's not as soft. So smaller dice, and there's no waste, and all I have to do is clean this, you see? Never use the box grater. I save the box grater for my carrots, my red cabbage. Okay, other questions? Who loved the program?
Oh.
Okay.
Learned a couple things. Who's gonna use the technique with the high wall Tupperware?
Oh,
Who's
yeah,
gonna use that when they make their chicken cutlets, right?
Definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna check my oven now and show you the finished product, then we're gonna cut it and we're gonna be done.
Yeah, show it close up to the camera because it's hard.
What do I got here? Oh, it's cooking perfectly. Oh my God, it smells amazing. When you open the oven, you smell it. Okay. And you can see this is cooked perfectly.
Bring it close to the camera. Oh, there.
And you see this?
Yeah, hold it up a little bit more.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna send you a
Oh,
picture.
perfect, perfect.
Now, do you see the 8 slices?
Yes.
Those are each servings. So your knife's gonna go through on the sides. I'm gonna show you in a minute with a butter knife.
Oh,
Who wants this big one on the lower left?
Oh.
Wait, is that all you or what?
I'll take it all. Feed my family.
I'm telling you, when you let this cool and you cut it into sections or you cut it in half and you put a quarter each in different baggie and double bag it, to have this in the freezer is just wonderful, okay? And if you have company, this is gonna keep everybody satisfied. Let me show you how we cut this.
After you freeze it, do you have to defrost it before you put it in the oven?
Yes, that's a good idea to let it defrost. Definitely a better idea. Okay, let's get this. This is heavy. Okay. So I'm going to take a butter knife. Again, you don't want to use anything sharp because you'll scrape your. Okay, I'm just going to cut like this. And it's so easy because I stack them one on top of the other. You see? How fast is that? Okay, then we're going to take plate. And because these are stacked pretty high, I'm going to take spatula.
Oh, wow.
How fast, how easy, how perfect.
Unbelievable.
Okay, look at that.
Beautiful.
Closer, closer. Now, there you go. Oh, no,
You
turn
do
it,
this?
Karen, no, turn it towards the camera. That's the sun. Yeah. There you go. Beautiful.
All right.
Gosh, you could, wish I
So
could reach
again, if you
out.
want to put a little Parmesan on top, I have never had to do it, never desired it. It's just delicious like this. what you really, the cheese is important, but it's really the sauce and the eggplant to me. The cheese is just the topping on, really the icing on the cake, so to speak. It's really the sauce. Now, how are we going to serve this? I love to have this. I love to serve this with a slice of Italian bread that's been double or triple toasted. Similar to the toast I prepare for my homemade pizza, where I pre-toast bread or pre-toast the pita bread and it comes out crunchy. So the softness of this eggplant with the crunch of the bread, and you serve it open face, okay? The bread on the bottom, the eggplant on top, and take a bite. That is the way my mother loved to eat this, and I'm kind of, I feel the same way. I love the crunch of the Italian bread with this, but this alone with just a cracker, it's amazing if you don't want to eat the bread. It's filling, it's nutritious. You're getting protein from the cheese. You're making your own sauce or buying a quality jarred sauce with very little salt or least amount of salt and no added sugar and good tomatoes. I think you're going to agree this is a great dish. Okay.
So there's no salt at all. It doesn't need, the whole dish doesn't need any salt.
No. You can add salt to your sauce when you make it. If you taste it and you think it needs a little salt, you add salt. I gave you the recipe for the sauce as well. Lynn, what do you think? Is this a winner?
Oh, she's muted.
You're muted, Lynn.
Yes, we're all gonna hit the farm stand for the eggplant stash.
Yeah. Listen,
Hope she's still open.
All I have to say is good luck with that, because if you're able to get any, great, okay? Because deals like that, they sell fast. But please do that. But Lynn, can I ask you, did we hit it out of the park for October and Vegetarian Month to close the month with the day before the last day of the month?
Yes. We're very happy. We hit all of the targets there.
Please
So
try
thank you.
your dish. You have my email now, everyone. If you want to send me a photo of your finished dish the first time you make it, I'd love to see that. Okay. So I want to say thank you again from my family to yours, from my house to yours. Lynn, thank you for having me. And
Bon appetit.
Exactly. All right, thank you everyone for joining us today, and yeah, everybody give it a try and let us know how you enjoy it. All right, thank you everyone. All right,
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye now.
Bye-bye. Keep safe.
Yes. Keep safe.